Hello folks, welcome back. Hope everybody's doing well today. Today's Friday. Hopefully y'all have a great weekend this weekend, safe weekend. What we're going to be talking about, you can hear the background there. We've got some barnyard music playing there. But anyway, what we're going to be talking about today, there's more and more people asking about different goat questions and everything. We're going to talk about goat shelter and goat fences a little bit today, and what they need, what the requirements are really. Now you can see over here our barn. Now our barn, you can see the daylight through it there, them boards. But generally the wind don't come from this direction here. You need to be able to have it someplace for them to get in if it's raining or the heat, or also the winter time. Now the winter time, the ones of you that's been with us for a while, out there you might be able to see out there, there's that mama hen with her chicks. I ain't gonna keep you long. We've got another behind that little goat up there, if you can see it. Yeah, there's another little hen up there. She decides she won't be a mama. Anything you want to say, Red? I ain't got nothing, no snacks with me. But anyway, that big hole, this past year we had some OSB board. We put over the hole and just left a little opening for them to get in and out. Yeah, I've got to definitely, you can see down there, I've definitely got to get up here with the backhoe. The only reason I ain't done it so far is that mama hen, where she decided to have her chicks at, was in here, and I don't really want to disturb her or the chicks till they get a little bit bigger. But anyway, we'll cover that hole up, and then we also, on up there you can see some bigger gaps. The wind sometimes comes from that direction. Most of the time it comes from the front down here. You want to try to keep the drafts off of them. Yeah, your mama's up there in the field. You want to keep the drafts off of them as much as you can in the winter time. Summertime, we've got these windows here. I put them inside the barn. And I was thinking about, we've got a few more, adding some more up there. And that's just for ventilation, to let a little bit of air move in here. Lord, it's been hot this year, folks. It has. But anyway, just showing you here, they definitely need a roof and some shelter. At least 3 sides to get in out of the weather, or you're going to have some sick goats. Now let's move out here to the fence. We'll talk a little bit about it. Perfect example here with the fence. This little girl, she got hung up in it. Now this is the older wove wire, but we had it doubled right here in this one place, and she stuck her head through, and now she's hung. They let you know if they're hung up. Alrighty, I'm going to have to set y'all down here just for a minute to get her out. Be right back. Now this here, hopefully you can see this here. That's the regular size wove wire fence. You really don't have to worry about babies getting hung up in this. Alrighty. Let's step down here. Well, we can look right here at this. This is the 4-inch. We have been swapping out to this here. You don't have to worry about the big goats getting in this fence or getting their heads hung. But babies, what do they get? Them little knobs on top of their head there. And then when they stick their head through, what they do, they get scared of something, they throw their head up and try to come back. Well, them 2 little nubbins, they hit right there on that wire right there, and then once they get scared, they more or less give up. They just keep throwing their head up then. Now this bigger fence, some of the older nannies, they've learnt they can stick their head through, but they'll twist their head there. They know how to get their horns back out. Some of them do, some of them don't. Now let's step over here. As you can see, we've got mud. Here lately, it can't go a day without raining. Now, this here fence is the 16-foot cattle panels. The reason we come down through here along this side with it is we can take this down easily. You can see we're just using zip ties of holding that up. When they're pushing force, it's pushing against the fence post, and that there is just to keep it up. It's a quick, easy way. A lot of times we've got to get equipment through there. It's easy just to pop them off, drive the equipment up in through there. I mean, we've got a gate, but like when you're doing the manure spreader or something like that there, it's a whole lot easier just to go ahead and take this down and pull it up through for back and forth. But now this here, a lot of times we'll have a harder time. We've got two nannies, their horns spread out. They'll stick it through the fence, right through there. Then it's a pain in the butt trying to get them pulled back through. Most of the goats are fine with it. But now also, when we have babies, them wider panels, we've had babies before, just walk up to it. A goat, if it can get its head and front shoulders through something, it can get through anything. I'm going to take you down here and show you something here right now. You know they always say grass is greener on the other side. Well, that's what the goats believe. Now you can see right here, about 1.5 feet up in the air, this old wove wire, eventually enough pushing, most of the time it will break off over here at one of these spots. And if you have one goat, maybe a couple, usually it's not the whole. Now watch, I'm saying that there. Tomorrow I'll come out here and all the goats be out. But what they'll do, they'll keep pushing through until finally that metal fatigue, it breaks. Okay? You're wondering, well, how's that goat keep getting out? Start walking. Look for this strand here. Like I said, it's about 1.5 feet up in the air. Look for when that breaks, they've got this hole here. And a big goat can get through that hole. And it's not obvious right off from the start. If goat does get out, just kind of watch it and see where it's going back to, and that most of the time will give you a general idea. You can see there's that strand. You can see that strand right there. It broke in the middle. So that left this big hole from up here. This camera just ain't cooperating with me. It's the operator, folks. So you got this strand from here down to here, that big of an opening. A big goat can even get through that there. Like I said, once they ever get their head and their front shoulders started through, they'll get through that hole. But no, we have had several of that over the years, to where you'll have one get out, and most of the time the other goats ain't paying attention. They just look, well, how did Charlie get out? And luckily they all most of the time don't find it. But anyway, just start looking your fence over, and it's hard to find at times, especially if it's just broke one. When they come out, it kind of conceals back. But anyway, if you have one that constantly keeps getting out, check your fence for that there, because 9 times out of 10 that's what it's going to be, or that's what our experience has been over the years. And once again, like I said, it's kind of hard to spot as you're walking down through. Just look for a wide gap there. Alrighty. But now, as far as the shelter, goats do not like getting wet. And I didn't realize it until I just started filming myself here, folks, how white my forehead's getting. Another part of the farmer's tan, I guess. But that's good. But no, you don't want to have, your goats need to have somewhere to get in to dry. They do not like the rain, and it will make them sick. Let's see. As far as what we talked about up there, need at least a 3-sided building. And generally goats don't need heat of wintertime in most. Now there, gosh, that's been several years ago. We had a goat. She had babies up there. And we had her in the upper barn on the hill. And that barn is actually dug down into the ground, and the walls come up to where it stays a little bit warmer inside. We had to move them that one year. We had a tornado come through, and it had ripped the roof off of that. But we got it rebuilt. But that goat had babies that night. And when they was born, of course, they're wet. And the next morning we go up there, and the little thing's ears on the ends of them had got frostbit. I mean, they healed up okay and everything, but typically you don't need to have heat for them. Just as long as you can keep the wind from blowing on them, drafts. And like I showed you up there, our barn, you can see daylight through it there. But generally, we'll try to take and place something. Used to be good out town. What are you doing down there, little Dixie? There was a carpet store out town, and when they would take the old carpet out of somebody's house, they just throw it in a dumpster. We'd go and ask them, and that was real good. Just Dixie, honey, just like a little youngin'. That was real good to take and just tack up on the walls. Okay, this past year we didn't have the carpet, so what we done, we had some of that OSB board. We had got it real cheap. It had went through the flood last year, and I bought several pieces and put it up, and that's what we had last year. And then just had the little opening to where they could come through. And then actually I took another piece and fixed their wall for another windbreak. Just some different ideas to be thinking about if you're thinking about getting goats. You need to try to make sure they got bedding in there. A deep bedding is really good for when it gets cold. They can get down in the hay and snuggle up. See, we talked about ventilation. Need to make sure the summertime and everything there that you've got airflow coming through for when it gets hot. They say each goat needs between 10 and 15 square feet for living space. I've not actually calculated up how much space we've got, but they've done well. And before winter time, we always try to thin the herd down some to where we don't have as many goats. They're eating less. or less feed, because you're actually giving them more feed, and then the hay goes lasts a little bit longer. Let's see. And also one more thing, going back to the rain, they don't like to get wet. Goats also do not like to get in the mud. And if they're going through a lot of mud, a lot of times mud will get packed in around their hooves, and you'll notice them start limping, and then you'll have to work on their feet and everything there. But that's basically it. Like I said, there's been people come to the house before, and they'll want to buy a goat, and that's some of the questions I start asking them. Do you have shelter? And a lot of the times they'll say, well, I thought I could just chain it outside there. And I'll just tell them, nope, I don't have no goats, not for sale. But that's basically it. I've never used electrified woven wire. I don't know how that would be. I've heard some bad stories about that there. Like I showed you that one goat getting stuck in the fence. I've heard tales, goats stick their head through, and it's shocking them, and they can't get back out. I don't know that. I'm just using past experience from us folks. Just do your homework. There's all kinds of articles and everything that you can research. If you do get goats, I think you'll like them. Each goat has got its own characteristics. And I mean, they typically, you go up there, we always try to take treats and stuff, just to keep them pettish, keep them friendly. But we do slack off on the feed of the summertime because they've got plenty of grass. And I'll definitely try this fall, Lord willing, to show you when the leaves start falling off the trees, them goats are tickled to death. They'll walk through them woods and they'll be picking them up off the ground. A lot of times you'll see them try to catch them actually falling down out of the air. But no. Also, folks, predators. Now, we used to have 2 donkeys, and they've both passed away. They was both getting up in age, but now old Sally, the Jenny, she had come from out west. She was one of those ones, we had got her, we did backhoe work for a man, and for part of the work there, he traded her. She had the little government tattoo on her neck. And now, knock on wood, probably go up there tonight and coyotes be in, but you hear them all around. Thank God we've been lucky so far, but this was years ago when we lived up the road in the double wide. We noticed of an evening, she was like a dog. She'd start walking the field, go up about 6-8 foot, come walking back. Get over here, she'd go up, just had her nose to the ground, just like a dog. And we didn't know what in the world she was doing. But anyway, nothing happened that night. Well, the next night, I heard something. And I went out the back door and shined my light, and all the goats was in a huddle. And that's one thing they'll do. They will group together if there's something, you know, out there. Or that's been our experience. And I thought, well, where's, you know, Sally at? So I started shining my light. She was up there. She had actually caught the coyote. And I always assumed that they like kicked them to death. And that may be how some of them do. I don't know. But anyway, she had grabbed a hold of the back of that coyote and just mashed it into the ground. And then, but knock on wood, we've not had no, but that's something to keep in mind too. Predators, not only coyotes, but dogs. You know, if somebody sets out a dog and it's off somewhere, and or if it gets hungry, or say we've got over here on 421 goes up the mountain. They call it the snake because it's so curvy up through there. Like say up there, if somebody set out a dog, a mama dog, and she had pups up there, chances are them puppies has never seen anybody. They're just a wild dog. And dogs will kill your goats. But just be thinking about that there also, the predators. And that falls back to your fence. And, you know, up until several years ago, you know, I thought, well, wove wire fence out there. Well, there's a man that he's passed away now. But over here on the main highway, he had them come in and they built brand new fence, both sides of the road. And it's been so long ago, I can remember we was actually going to pick up, can't remember if it's Daniel or Jeffrey, from school. And there was a coyote running down there. Well, here's a bunch of cows up here, had calves. I thought, well, that fence, you could just look from the road. They had it pulled tight. Well, I thought, well, that thing, it won't, unless it jumps over it. That thing, I slowed down. I looked, make sure there was nothing behind us or anything there. But that thing actually come to a stop. It fell onto its side, and it got its head up underneath that fence. And with its legs, it pulled itself up underneath that fence, and then once it got on your side, it took off running right up through there. So that sort of shocked me right there. But no, that's another thing. Keep in mind predators. I think that there will give you a good little bit of knowledge there to be thinking about. Folks, I hope this video has helped some people out, and I hope you all have a blessed weekend. Stay safe. Lord willing, be seeing you Monday. Take care. Have a blessed weekend. Thank you all for watching.
Down on the farm where the green grass grows, we're thankful for the love that everybody knows. It's another day under the white blue sky, with the sun shining bright and the time drifting by. Homans, Homestead, where the story unfolds, our hearts full of laughter and our memories go. Oh, thank you for watching from near and far. Your support, it brightens just like a star. Don't forget to subscribe, it's always free. Join our journey, come share the glee.